We've all been there, stuck in that same old conversation loop. Someone asks, "How are you?" And almost like a reflex, we say, "I'm fine, thanks. How about you?" It's like we are on autopilot mode. But here's the thing, those interactions, they don't really create a connection, do they? The phrase "I'm fine, thanks" often acts as a conversation stopper rather than a starter. It's a polite response, but it doesn't invite further engagement or reveal anything meaningful about us. We are missing a chance to connect. All right, let's jump into our first real strategy for turning those shallow interactions into something more. I call it the notice something technique, and it's a game changer. It's all about observation, asking the right questions, and forming a genuine connection. First up, we have observation. This is where you become a bit of a detective. Instead of going through the motions, take a moment to really look at the person or your surroundings. Maybe it's something they're wearing, a book they're carrying, or even the vibe of the place you're in. Spotting these details is your first step towards a more engaging conversation. Next, let those observations naturally lead into a question. The key here is to make it specific and relevant. So instead of, "How's it going?" you might say, "That's a really interesting watch. Is there a story behind it?" This shows you're genuinely curious and not just making small talk. And that's how you start to form a connection. By moving beyond the generic greetings and showing genuine interest in the other person, you're opening the door to a more meaningful interaction. It's about acknowledging the little things that make someone unique and inviting them to share a bit more about themselves. All right, let's talk about using shared experiences to kickstart a conversation. It's simpler than you might think, and it's incredibly effective. First off, remember that context is king. Whether you're at a conference, a party, or just waiting in line at a coffee shop, that shared environment is your secret weapon. It gives you an immediate, relevant topic to discuss. Think of a shared space as a shared story waiting to happen. Let's say you're at a conference. You could turn to the person next to you and say something like, "This venue is amazing, isn't it? Have you been to this event before?" Boom, instant conversation starter. And that leads us to instant rapport. When you tap into a shared experience, you're not just making small talk, you're acknowledging a commonality. It's like saying, "Hey, we're in this together." And that's a powerful way to connect with someone. Now, let's get into something a bit more substantial, and moving from surface-level questions to ones that invite real sharing. It's about showing you're interested in more than just the usual pleasantries. On one side, we've got your typical run-of-the-mill questions, and on the other, questions that open up the conversation to something more meaningful. How's your day? It's polite, sure, but it rarely leads anywhere interesting. What's been the highlight of your week? This is a great way to get someone talking about something positive. What do you do? This one's so common, it's practically become background noise. What are you passionate about these days? This one goes straight to the heart of what makes someone tick. Where are you from? Again, it's not bad, but it doesn't really give you much to work with. What's a place you've always wanted to visit and why? It's a fun, light-hearted question, but it can also reveal a lot about a person's dreams and aspirations. Finding common ground is like discovering hidden treasure in a conversation. It's about those moments where you think, "Hey, me too. Here's how to get better at it." First, listen for clues. People often drop hints about their interests and passions in casual conversation. Maybe they mention a book they're reading, a hobby they enjoy, or a place they've visited. These are your golden opportunities. If you already know something about the person, use that to your advantage. Maybe a mutual friend told you they're into hiking, or you saw on social media they're a fan of a certain band. Bring it up casually like, "I heard you're a big fan of band. What's your favorite album by them?" Remember, shared interests create shared bonds. When you find something in common, it's like you've found a bridge between you and the other person. It makes the conversation more enjoyable and creates a sense of camaraderie. Let's dive into something a bit deeper, talking about values. You might be thinking, isn't that a bit heavy for a first conversation? But hear me out. Values are at the core of who we are, and they can be a powerful way to connect with others on a more meaningful level. Now, I'm not saying you should start grilling people about their life philosophy the moment you meet them. But asking a question like, "What's something you're really passionate about learning more about these days?" can give you a glimpse into what they care about. Or, if you could solve one problem in the world, what would it be? These kinds of questions can lead to some surprisingly deep conversations, and they show that you're interested in more than just surface-level chit-chat. All right, let's lighten things up a bit. Sometimes a playful question can be just as revealing as a serious one. And it's a lot of fun, too. Here's a twist on a classic. Would you rather? But instead of the usual silly options, let's make it a bit more thought-provoking. Would you rather have the power to travel anywhere in the world instantly, or have the ability to speak any language fluently? Another fun one is the dinner with history scenario. If you could have dinner with any historical figure, who would it be? And most importantly, why them? Now let's revisit an old classic, the Ford method, but with a modern twist. For those who haven't heard of it, Ford stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Traditionally, family might involve direct questions about someone's family. But we can make it more subtle. Notice a unique ring instead of, "Is that a family heirloom?" Try, "That's a really unique piece. Does it have a special meaning for you?" It's less direct, but still opens a door. Occupation used to be as straightforward. "What do you do?" Let's change the angle. If you're at a networking event, try, "What's been the most interesting project you've worked on here?" It's more engaging and relevant to the context. For recreation, instead of, "What do you do for fun?" How about noticing something about them? See a sports team logo? "I noticed your team hat. Are you going to any games this season?" It's more natural and shows you're paying attention. Dreams are a bit trickier, but super important. Instead of a blunt, "What are your dreams?" try, "What's something you've always wanted to try or learn?" It's less intimidating and more inviting. This brings us to the heart of it all, active listening. And I mean really listening. It's not just about hearing the words someone is saying, it's about understanding the person behind those words. Active listening is about empathy and connection. It's about showing the other person that you're not just waiting for your turn to speak, but that you genuinely care about what they have to say. When you truly understand where someone is coming from, that's when the magic happens. So, how do we put all of these techniques together to really connect with people beyond the surface? First, be present. Put your phone away, make eye contact, and give the person your full attention. It makes a world of difference. Second, be curious. Ask questions that show you're genuinely interested in getting to know the other person, not just filling the silence. Third, be open. Be willing to share a bit about yourself too. Connection is a two-way street. And finally, be yourself. Authenticity is key. People can spot a fake a mile away, so just relax and let your true personality shine through. All right, here's your challenge for this week. I want you to try out at least one of these techniques in your very next conversation. It doesn't have to be a big, formal event. It could be with the barista at your coffee shop, a neighbor, or even a family member. The point is to take that first step towards having more meaningful interactions. Start small, see how it feels, and I bet you'll be surprised at the difference it makes. And that's it from me today. I hope you found these tips helpful and that you're feeling inspired to try them out. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. Mio. And of course, subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive. But most importantly, I want to hear from you. Try out these techniques and then come back here and let me know how it went in the comments section. Did you make any interesting connections? What did you learn about yourself in the process? Your stories and experiences are what make this community so great. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.